the presenter. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Nysa Global's webinar series, which is every Wednesday at 3 p.m. India time. Just a second, let me start this. Just want to. Good afternoon again. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today. It is a part of a series of webinars that we will be conducting every Wednesday at 3 p.m. India time and the corresponding local times around the world. Our web series is aimed at introducing various investment immigration programs from around the world, and every week we will be focusing on an individual country or program. Today's feature is on UK, which is one of the most popular destinations, at least amongst the Indian population, as a destination for migration. There are a couple of instructions that I would like to share before the webinar. To all our guests and visitors on this webinar, when you look at the small pop-up box that shows up on the right, there is a chat section in it in which you can post your questions. These questions will be taken up at the end of the session and will be answered by one of our panelists. The session flow would be that we will start with the generic introduction about investment immigration and a little bit about Nysa. We will then introduce some of the programs that we have on offer that are investment immigration programs, followed by our feature presentation on UK, which will be done by our colleague Paulina. So without further ado, let's get started. Let me introduce the panelists today. There will be me, Pankaj Joshi, my partner Mark Haseman, and Paulina with Beyond Migration UK. And each one of us will do our own introductions as we go along the presentation when the time comes. So let's get started. The kickoff will be by Mark. I request the panelists to turn off the webcams during the presentation time so that everybody's screen only has these slides that are on for everybody to see while we talk. So I'm going to turn off my webcam right now, and then let's get started with Mark.
Okay. Hi, this is Mark Haseman. I'm American by background. My professional experience includes mixed-use community development in the real estate sector, as well as a number of other items. I've been working with Pankaj in the immigration, investment, migration business, skilled worker, all the various programs we're going to talk about today since 2012. So, migration is probably as old as mankind itself, when we roamed freely and settled where we found the best protection, shelter, and food. Today, the world is bordered. Each bordered country has its own socio-economic, political, religious existence, its own distinct culture. People born in one place desire and often move to another place. Take my own situation, for example. My German forebears traveled to America in the late 19th century. And so today, while I'm a fourth generation American, even though my ancestry is 100% German, it's estimated that globally 250 million people live in a country in which they were not born. India itself has seen migration over hundreds of years. The Indian diaspora can be found in most every country on earth, in some cases going back generations. In the recent past, post-independence Indians have mostly migrated through foreign education pursuits, leading to jobs in the new country and ultimately becoming residents and citizens. This has given way to another popular trend, that of family link migrations, where a foreign citizen sponsors a sibling, spouse, or family member. In the late 1980s, the world witnessed its first major structured investment immigration program as citizens of Hong Kong started to migrate to Canada in anticipation of the British turnover to China. A phenomenon now seeming to repeat itself, only this time it looks like the United Kingdom is the destination. Today, such programs avail in dozens of countries as they seek economic development in exchange for residency or citizenship. These programs essentially aim to attract foreign direct investment into the host country, and with it bring an upwardly mobile family that ultimately create even more economic value in the destination country, typically far in excess of the original investment. Investment immigration programs have been popular in China and Southeast Asia since their inception. As wealth and horizons have expanded, India is now seeing a very rapid increase in interest and use of investment-based migration programs. We at Nysa have been a front runner in this field starting in 2012 and have had the privilege of working with hundreds of families through their migration journey. We're proud to present new and emerging opportunities in this segment to our audiences in India. Next slide. Generally, people take one of three different approaches towards becoming a citizen or a passport holder in another country, and I should say there are three different types of opportunities available. One is there are some circumstances where you make an investment or fulfill some sort of requirement that automatically entitles you to a passport. The second requires an intermediate step where maybe you first have to become a permanent resident, and there are requirements that lead up to that, again varying country to country. And then after you're a permanent resident for some period of time, again varying from country to country, you can then be eligible for passport citizenship. The third approach, which is kind of builds on the second, is that there's an intermediate visa, business visa, work visa, something like that, that you have on the way to permanent residency, and then oftentimes, and then after fulfilling further requirements or some waiting period, there is a passport. All these again vary from country to country, and I would want to mention that generally the privileges of the passport or citizenship are already in hand during the intermediate stages. Maybe not entirely, but for the most part. Next slide. And as I said, there are, I kind of like to call the ebb and flow countries and programs around the world. Here you see the countries that offer, a pathway to citizenship through residence, and right now are offering a permanent residence type of migration opportunity. And then there are those that offer direct citizenship on the right side of your screen there. Again, and we do call this the ebb and flow because and we like to talk to people, you don't want to obviously pursue such a program until you're ready. But these programs and offerings from countries change as countries fulfill their objectives. If it's economic development, once a country starts to fill what it was attempting to do when it meets its objective, sometimes the waiting lists get established, and the time period to migrate can become extended. Sometimes it even gets shut altogether. So what we like to tell people is once you find the program that you think suits you, that you take action when you're good and ready to do it, and not before, but certainly don't dawdle in getting going. Next slide. So, at Nysa Global, we take an institutional approach to investment immigration. And I think we can just go right to the next slide. And basically our services cover investment immigration, skilled migrant, investment immigration, meaning that you invest in a business or a property or something, but it requires an economic commitment on your part, a financial commitment on your part, in order to achieve the permanent residency or outright citizenship. Skilled migration is another circumstance we work on that involves really matching. It's almost like a placement service. We help people that are qualified for certain jobs and match them to countries that are looking to fill those positions. The business investment advisory to the USA is another aspect of what we do. We also do business advisory at this point to a lot of countries that have a business migration category. So with this, I'd now like to turn over the presentation back over to Pankaj Joshi. Pankaj is the founder of Nysa. Since 2010, has led the firm in helping hundreds of families expand their international footprint. He's widely published and featured in national and international publications such as the Economic Times and Fortune magazine. He's spoken at and/or hosted numerous conferences in conjunction with major Indian media such as the Times of India and CNBC. Pankaj is widely acknowledged as one of the foremost experts in India on the subject of economic migration. He works very hard at making sure that that the client finds the opportunity that suits them the best, and that the application process is flawless. So with that, I will turn this over to Pankaj and wait for your questions at the end.
Thank you so much, Mark. Just to add to what Mark was saying about our firm, Nysa Global, we've been at it now for about 8 years in India in the world of investment immigration. There are various programs around the world that we work with. We have passports by investment or citizenship by investment programs that we offer in countries like Malta, Cyprus, Turkey, Dominica, Grenada, and St. Lucia. We offer residence by investment or PR by investments in the United States under what is popularly called the Regional Center Program. The UK under the Tier 1 Investor Visa, which will be presented later today. Ireland under the Irish Investment Program called the IIP, and the Golden Visa Program in Portugal. We also work with business-based migration to the US under the direct EB5 route, the UK through the representative of overseas business route, again, part of the feature presentation today. Canada under the Provincial Nominee programs around Canada, and Ireland under the Startup Ireland program. I am going to run this session with a brief introduction of each of these programs other than the UK, which will be a detailed presentation by Paulina. The US EB5 visa program. The US EB5 visa program has been around for about 30 years now. It went through a major change last year in November when the price increased from 500 to 900,000 US dollars. It is a program that requires you to create 10 new jobs by making an investment in a new business in the United States. You can choose a direct investment or a regional center project and expect an associated cost of about 75 to 100,000 US dollars over and above your investment. It includes a family, so spouse and all unmarried children under the age of 21 at the time of application. It's a straight green card for everybody, and everyone securing a green card are free to live, work, study anywhere in the United States. It's not that you invest in a particular place and then you're bound to that place or that state. You can move around anywhere in the US. The downside of the program over the years has been that it's become very slow. It's taking many years. It's a multi-step process with a typical investment timeline, which is pretty long, almost 5 to 7 years. And the documentation is pretty complex, especially to do with the sources of funds documentation that we have to do. We currently offer a project in San Diego, California. It is majority owned by a major investment bank. It is one of the most secure EB5 projects that we've had the privilege to work with over the years, with only 15% of the money as debt. That is first position mortgage to the EB5 investors. The project's under construction with the company, and the project has a very successful track record to date, with almost 250 investors already in, with 150 plus investors already approved. The direct EB5 is something that we offer, which is unique to us. It is a customized solution that we do for clients that have their own business ideas that they want to do and qualify it for the EB5 program. We do the entire spectrum. We can do the feasibility, the business structuring, the immigration filing coordination, and the documentation for it. 3 projects that we worked with in the past are, in the last year, is a motel and QSR project in Arizona. We started off with an absolute piece of ground, and we did everything for that project for the owners. A housing development project in Texas, it's a row housing project, and a hotel in New York State that we had an investor that was co-investing into a project that was already under planning. We do have coming up, we were going to launch it, but then we stalled it because of COVID, a curated business investment opportunity in senior and assisted living and nursing care in the Midwest region that qualifies for a direct EB5. Ireland is a country that we at Nysa are very excited about. It's the only country that now offers you both the UK and the EU access. There are 2 programs in Ireland that we work with, the Investor Immigration Program and the Business Investment Migration under Critical Skills. The IIP is a pure investment, third-party investment program, requires an enterprise investment or an investment fund of €1 million, or a REIT investment of €2 million, or you could do a donation for €500,000. It includes the spouse and unmarried children under 18. It's pretty fast to process, 6 to 9 months to get the PR. The investment is typically locked into 3 to 5 years, and you can move to Ireland for citizenship. The PR renews at the end of the third, fourth, and fifth year, at the end of which you are eligible to take up the passport. The next program is the Business Investment Program under Critical Skills. This is a program where we work with you to start a new company in Ireland, which is in an area which is qualified under one of the critical skills categories or critical skills sectors. We then help structure a job role for the foreign investor to qualify as an employee in the Irish company, and we secure for them a critical skills visa. The person and the family can then move to the UK, initially with a 2-year work visa for working for their own company, with the spouse getting an open work permit to start a business or take up any other job. And all children under 18 can qualify to go as dependents. They get access to public education with local Irish fees, etc. After 2 years of maintaining the employer-employee relationship, that is payment of monthly salaries, the critical skills visa converts to a PR, which renews again after third, fourth, fifth year, and you're eligible for a passport after the 6th year. It again, both Irish routes include children under 18. They're pretty fast to process, 3 months for the business visa and 6 to 9 for the investor category. The only downside with it is that to get the citizenship, you have to live in Ireland. They're very stringent about the residency requirements in Ireland. For the business investment, you can expect a minimum investment starting at about 90,000 euros, and the associated fees are in the range of about 100,000 euros. Canada is another very popular country. We have a lot of queries going on right now for Canada, and we super specialize in the business migration to under the provincial nominee programs. Canada has multiple reasons why it's one of the top destinations that people like to move to, especially from India. There are various provincial programs that are offered. The primary categories can be divided into self-employed, entrepreneurs, owner-operator, intercompany transfers, and 2 less popular but available categories, which are federal programs. The provinces, almost all the provinces offer a PNP business migration program. We again do a lot of our work in Ontario and British Columbia, which predominantly is the destination of choice for the Indian community. The Canadian business program is also a very customized solution. The Canadian migration is very myopic about the view from their viewpoint of how a person qualifies for a business. So based on the age, experience, or profile of the individual, we match a qualifying business or investment opportunity, which could be greenfield. Absolutely from start, it could be a partnership into an existing business, or it could be a 100% acquisition of an existing business in Canada. Again, we offer a complete suite of services, starting from profiling to business matchmaking all the way to the PR process. The minimum investment really starts at about 100,000 Canadian dollars and can go upwards into 2+ million Canadian dollars. These are the range that we have worked with. There is a minimum net worth requirement, which is at 300,000 to 600,000 Canadian dollars and above. Again, it varies for different provinces and different programs, and expect associated fees in the range of about 45 to 75,000 Canadian dollars. It includes spouse and children under the age of 21 months, and we expect people to be able to be in Canada within 6 to 9 months of starting this process. Portugal is a golden visa program that we are pretty excited about because it's a gateway to EU citizenship. There are various programs under the golden visa program that are available in the market today. We particularly work in 3 segments, which is real estate in the 350 and 500 and above range, and a segment that we were offering pre-COVID, which was to create 10 jobs in Portugal. It's a pretty fast process. It only takes a few months for you to receive the golden visa. Initially, you get it for 3 years, and then extensions of 2 years. You're eligible for a passport after the 5th year of being on your golden visa. It includes the investor spouse plus all dependent children. There is no age limit for children, which is a very big plus point, as long as they can be shown as dependent, i.e. they are in full-time education or part-time education, and dependent parents and parents-in-law. that are 56 and above, and for 65 and above, there's no dependency requirement to be shown. You get a full EU passport in 5 years, which gives you the right to live and move anywhere in the European Union. It is a Schengen country. We have a project which is an offer right now, which is a Marriott hotel in Porto with a 2% per annum return and a guaranteed buyback in the 5th year or when you get the passport, whichever is later. We also are working with several citizenship by investment program that I'm going to run through very quickly. Cyprus is an expensive program with 2 million and above investment. Expect associated fees ranging from 30 to 80,000 euros, along with the visa costs, etc. Malta, and the second European member country after Cyprus, which is part of this, which is mostly a contribution program, which also requires you to either buy or rent a property, and then you have to also buy an investment into government bonds, etc. Again, there are associated fees with it. The new kid on the block is Montenegro, which is a new program that's come around, which has started recently. It requires a government donation as well as a real estate purchase. 250,000 euros in the north of the country, which is the more developing part, and 450 in the south, which is the more developed part. Again, associated fees and costs will come with this. Turkey, you can do a financial investment of 500,000 or a real estate of 250. We have some really incredible projects available in Turkey right now. Again, there'll be associated costs with it. And in the Caribbean, we are currently working in the programs in Dominica, which is a contribution, but comes with, or a property purchase. Again, we have some great projects available. Comes with associated service fees. Grenada, again, it's a national fund donation with associated fees. St. Lucia, it requires you to make a contribution or a property purchase or investment into government bonds or a business investment, comes with an associated fees. And now for our feature presentation on United Kingdom, it is with pleasure that I would like to introduce and invite our partner, Beyond Citizenship and Residence. Beyond is one of the foremost experts in the field of residence and citizenship by investment, having worked with over 5,000 clients and their families over the last 20 years. They have 30 offices around the world. Our presenter today is Paulina. Paulina is with their London office. She has 15 years of experience in the investment immigration field, and she has worked with almost 300 cases in the UK program till date. She's one of the foremost experts in UK migration today. And I'm just going to transfer the screen rights, and Paulina, I request you to start your presentation. I'm going to turn off my screen, and we're just going to share the presentation with rights with Paulina.
Hello, can everybody see my screen? Please say yes, no, maybe.
Paulina, sorry, the audience won't be able to talk, but yes, we can see your screen.
Excellent. And how is audio?
Absolutely clear, Paulina. Okay. Please.
Excellent, thank you. So if you allow me, I will talk about UK immigration options today. UK as a country, I don't think needs any introduction. Obviously, we will try to be mindful of the time. UK is one of the most attractive options currently, and the main advantages are not just the fact that it's an English-speaking country, everybody knows where it is, it's easy to get to, the healthcare system is very good, you know, the life longevity as well, and it's secure, it's the best education. Many clients of ours in India and in the subcontinent have family here already. So we're not going to spend time on advertising the UK. You are all welcome to come visit us here and see for yourself how amazing it is. And even the popular comments about the British climate, we feel have no grounds, because we actually like it here very much. We never see snow. So that is already a big advantage. So if you look at the immigration to the UK, obviously there's many different options to move. We will focus on the three main routes which are connected to business migration and to investment. These are the ones which take us to indefinitely to remain, which is the name for permanent resident status in the UK, and eventually citizenship, if this is the objective. These ones are straightforward, and they imply that applicants going through this route actually plan to settle and obtain citizenship in the UK. So they are the tier 1 investor. Then there's UK innovative visa, and another one which is representative of overseas business. The tier 1 investor was introduced more than 15 years ago. It is created specifically for high net worth individuals. The minimum required investment under this option is £2 million, provided in this £2 million in UK loan capital and share capital of UK companies and active and trading UK companies. The whole family, which is main applicant spouse and children under 18, can come to the UK, settle, and qualify for permanent residence after 5 years and 12 months later for citizenship. There's no requirement of English language for the first 5 years. This is why predominantly, I would say 80% of applicants under the program are China, Hong Kong, and Russia, the ones who may actually struggle with English. We do, however, have tier 1 investor clients, Indian ones, going onto this program as well. And actually, I have to say that you can see that there's different investment options. One of the few 10 million clients was actually an Indian single applicant, where 10 million was gifted by the grandfather. So he was studying in the UK, and in order to get permanent residence quicker, only in 2 years, he was gifted 10 million. So I'm sure that there's always a market, is in India in particular. The greatest advantages of tier 1 investor visa is that it basically gives us the opportunity to live, study, work in the UK, and proceed to settlement and citizenship without any restrictions. Investment is passive, and it is easy to get the investment back. We invest in usually AAA, very reliable UK companies like British Telecom, British Petroleum, Tesco, Vodafone, and after 5 years, we just sell the investment and the funds come back. This is the timeline for under the program. The first residence permit, if it's an investment of 2 million, is granted for 3 years. After 3 years, subject to the investment being maintained, the applicant would qualify for the extension for 2 more years. After 5 years of the investment being maintained, the main applicant and family apply for indefinitely to remain, which is permanent residence, and the requirements here are specified. It is essential that the main applicant and family members maintain 185 days in the UK if they intend to apply successfully for indefinitely to remain. If they don't really have settlement in mind, then residency requirements would not be relevant. Provided that they also want to proceed to British citizenship, then they can apply 6 years down the line. In this case, residency requirements are stricter. It's 75% of their time in the UK. English language test would only be applicable after 5 years, and obviously no criminal record. The main advantage is, like I said, it's an English-speaking country, the best possible education system in the world. In terms of tax, despite popular belief, UK is actually not as bad as many other. Out of the top 5 countries in the world, UK really doesn't have the worst tax system for wealthy individuals, and that is basically that actually justifies why we have so many rich people here in London. The biggest advantage of all UK programs is fast processing. The decision can actually be achieved usually within 6 weeks. We sometimes have decision issued even within 3 days. That is also not unheard of. Therefore, the waiting time is fairly minimal. If anyone wants to move to the UK, they have the funds, they qualify. We can comfortably arrange for them to move within 2-3 months. That is absolutely possible. And again, they would have all the rights in terms of being able to work, live, study in the UK, no restriction. The only disadvantages are the requirement for minimum physical presence, if that is an issue. And obviously, citizenship can only be achieved after 5 or 6 years of residence. Moving on to the next option, which is United Kingdom innovative visa. The innovative visa is for applicants who have an innovative, viable, and scalable business idea. The way that it works, they also have to have access for funds of £50,000, which obviously is very attractive. It's much lower than 2 million. However, the business plan would be assessed by a specific endorsement body in the UK, and it would be up to them to make judgment on whether the business idea meets the criteria and is indeed innovative, viable, and scalable. They are looking, of course, for another Steve Jobs. It's a new program, was only introduced in March 2019. In the last 12 months, in the last year, in 2019, I think only 14 applicants were granted. We are proud to say that 2 of them were our applicants. But I have to say that endorsement bodies are very picky, they're very fussy, they are very selective, and they are monitored by the Home Office to a great extent. Therefore, getting the endorsement, in order to get the endorsement, it has to be a genuine innovator, the next Steve Jobs or kind of someone with the likes of that. The English language requirement is much higher, the level of B2, and the clients have to really convince the Home Office that they meet the viability, scalability, and innovation requirements. The main advantages is that indefinitely to remain permanent residence under this route can be achieved in only 3 years, as opposed to 5 years under the 2 million investment route. The disadvantages are that you cannot study under the innovative visa. You can only work for the business which was endorsed throughout the visa stay, and you cannot take any outside employment. Also, in order to qualify for indefinitely to remain after 3 years, the requirements can be quite difficult. I would say it has to be a minimum 2 of the following: applying successfully for intellectual property rights, for patents, creating 500,000 annual revenue, and 100,000 of that has to be from exports overseas. They have to prove that in the last 3 years, the number of customers doubled and attracted more than similar businesses. They have to prove that they had the gross revenue of 1 million, like I said, 10 full-time jobs in the UK created, or at least 5 of them with 25,000 salary. So it's since nobody has achieved indefinitely to remain through the innovative visa as of yet, this is a new rule. I'm sure there would be some changes, but as of now, the requirements for achieving indefinitely to remain in 3 years actually do look quite cumbersome. And last but not least, I would like to draw your attention to the representative of overseas business visa. Ever since Conservatives came to power in the UK, they've been shutting all possible doors to move to the UK. This is one of the few routes which still remain, which I think definitely worth your attention. The main idea is that any overseas business, whether it's based in India, Bangladesh, Nigeria, Russia, China, any reputable business with a good turnover, fair amount of employees, and genuine needs, they have the right to send a representative to the UK. And under this route, there's no investment, there's no minimum investment requirement. There's no requirement to create full-time jobs. The only thing that is relevant is whether the parent company is genuine, reputable, and they need to have a representative in the UK. This representative comes to the UK with family, again, spouse and children under 18, and he can only work for the mother company that sent him. Most importantly, we have to show that there's a genuine need, that he's been employed for minimum 6 months in a top-manager position, as in a senior decision-making role, but not the main decision maker. The main applicant cannot be the majority shareholder, as it should be obvious that the main operations and shareholders remain overseas throughout the whole qualifying period. But he can set up business in the same type of business as the overseas parent company, and he is authorized to make all the decisions. So the timeline would be similar. Again, the first residence permit is granted for 3 years. After 3 years, once the parent company confirms that they still need the representative in the UK, he will be granted extension for 2 more years and his family alongside him. In 5 years, they can qualify for indefinitely to remain. And once they are granted indefinitely to remain, all restrictions are lifted. And 12 months down the line, they can apply for British nationality if they're so inclined. The main advantages are it is really the most cost-efficient option of moving to the UK. Again, successful application can be processed within, I would say, 6 weeks. We usually get the decision. So comfortably within 3 months, I can move anyone to the UK who qualifies. The English language requirement is very minimal. It's only at the level of A1, which I'm sure absolutely everyone in India can meet. Almost everyone. Dependent parent, dependent partner, and children, they are free to take all sorts of employment. They can start their own business. They can study. They can do anything, do nothing in the UK. Dependent children can study in both public and private schools, so without any additional student visas. There's no minimum investment requirement, no requirement to rent an office. You can work from home. No requirement to create jobs in the UK. No requirement to demonstrate financial turnover, success. Just evidence that they've generated business for the mother company, for the parent company. And the biggest advantage under this rule, if we go back, here only the main applicant and not dependent as of now need to demonstrate that they spent 185 days in the UK in order to get settlement for the whole family. So for example, we have right now a case where it's an Indian couple. The lady wants to relocate to the UK. The children will be going to UK schools. The husband will be between India and London. He doesn't have to spend time in the UK. However, as long as the mother maintains 185 days every 12 months in London, all of them, herself, the husband, and the children will achieve indefinite to remain. For citizenship, obviously, everybody is on their own clock. So the only disadvantage I would say is that obviously citizenship, we have to wait, but that is the same for everyone. Even if you invest 10 million in the UK, citizenship is only possible in 5 years. Here it's going to be 6. And the main applicant can only work for the mother company, for the parent company that sent them to the UK, cannot take any other employment. However, since the spouse and dependent partner is free to take any sort of employment, sometimes we have to be really, it's important to see who is the main applicant, and we can actually work around this. So the main condition for indefinite to remain in the UK is that no more than 180 days are spent outside of the UK. For representative overseas business, that only applies to the main applicant. English requirement at the level of B1. And once indefinite to remain is granted, it has no expiry date. It will be valid forever as long as the person who has the indefinite to remain does not spend more than 2 years in a row away from the UK. And otherwise, they may actually question whether you actually need it. So when we do look at when we actually meet the client, I would say that these days, I would separate them into 4 groups by the purpose that they're trying to achieve. So we're always trying to work with them and see what is their objective. I would say these days, it's either those who have, it's quite a few of them. One of them are the ones who are focused on getting visa-free travel. There's those who are looking at the plan B in order to be able to live, work, and study in another country, or to have like an insurance policy. Those who are looking at tax planning solutions, and those who are actually looking at relocation, which would be leading to citizenship. And UK can actually provide a good solution for all of them. But of course, I would say that UK is great for tax planning, great for visa-free travel once that citizenship is achieved, great for plan B as a safe haven and English-speaking country, and especially good for those who actually do plan to relocate and proceed to citizenship. If we look at case studies of those who usually proceed with the UK program, I would say that most common out of all our, for example, UK clients, at least 50% are children studying in the UK and those who want to remain in the UK after they finish university. From 18 years of age, the client can already be an investor, no business experience required, just the funds can be gifted from the parents. And like I said, one of the very few 10 million clients was actually a student studying in the UK. We actually have, an Indian family based in Singapore. They have 3 children, and each of their children is an investor in 2 million in their own right, because a student visa in the UK is a waste of time. It will not get you settlement unless you actually spend 10 years as a student, and that would be actually cost a fortune in itself, and would come with a lot of restrictions in terms of residency requirements. But instead, they put 2 million in the child's name, and they're here on the investor visa studying instead of being on a student visa. That way, they are already on track to getting settlement and citizenship. Another very big group, another 50% of our UK clients, they are mothers of minor children who are currently in UK boarding or day schools. There is a visa which is called Parent of a Child at School for children under 12 in UK education. One of the parents can be granted Parent of a Child at School visa, but that is a complete waste of time, just like a student one, because again, it is not an immigrant visa. It does not lead to settlement or citizenship. So instead, the mother can be a representative of a parent company in India, and that way the whole family would be on track to getting settlement in the UK and citizenship if they were so inclined. So those who actually do want to relocate to the UK, I would say 80% of the time they're driven by education that they can receive in the UK. So we have this mostly China, and Russia, Nigeria, Middle East, India as well. So whenever it's families relocating to the UK, they usually go with either the investor or the representative of overseas business route. There are some clients which are genuinely interested in business expansion, and actually right now we have a case again with Pankaj where the company overseas, the Indian company is a very big company listed, belongs to the parent, but the son is already, I think, 28, 29. They want him to send him to the UK, where he would set up the representative office, and the operations would be expanded into Europe out of London base. So again, it's a perfect candidate for a representative of overseas business visa, no investment, English language very basic. He would meet all the criteria because, for example, the main shareholder, his parents remain overseas, and he is only a minority shareholder. So that is just to help you to identify sales opportunities. And we are happy to take any questions and always at your disposal for further inquiries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paulina. I'm just going to finish up the session, and then we have questions pouring in for you. So if I can just get the screen rights transfer back to me. Okay. Okay. So, thank you so much, Paulina, for an excellent presentation on the UK program. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Beyond Migration, Paulina and her colleague Tatiana are both based in London, and they had the practice for the Beyond Migration group, one of the foremost experts in the field of investment immigration and citizenship by investment programs around the world. In fact, their founder, Hakan, is probably one of the pioneers of this sector and one of the most respected figures in the field today. Hakan has been instrumental in the designing or building of many of the programs that we have come to see today in the world. So at the end of the day, which program is suitable for you, or which program are you suitable for? This is the real question that most of our clients are faced with. Factors that affect people, what the objective, why do you want to go? Is it for your children? Is it for yourself? Is it for future? Is it for something short term, medium term, long term outlook that you have? Destinations, where do you want to go? What is your number 1, 2, and 3 choices that you have in your mind? Again, what are the timelines? Do you want your children to go first? Do you want to follow? Do you want to take them? What's the investment threshold? How much can you invest? Who all do you want to include? There are programs that include children till 18, 21, some that don't have age limits, some that include 3 generations. So it really is a function of who all do you really want to be able to take. We at Nysa, over the years, have developed a scientific approach and methodology where we've been working with our clients, starting with an interview and discovery process, where we go through an identification and selection and placement of investment once this is tuned in. And then we work with our clients through an immigration and transition period, all the way, if you want, till the continuity, till the PR, till the ultimate status for immigration is received, or till the return of investment. Our engagement can start and finish at various stages of this journey. We at Nysa have a very deep knowledge and roots that help us successfully navigate the complexities of investment immigration journeys. There are many slips between the top and the lip. There's a huge difference between what people can research for on Google and read about program, even the program's website, and in the reality of how these programs are being administered or adjudicated today. This comes from actual involvement in ongoing cases that are in these countries and programs. This comes with the expertise that we have with our years of experience with some of these programs, seeing them evolve over time. As some of my colleagues and business partners say, their hairs have all grayed over with the investment immigration program over the years. Nysa is a Greek word which means a new beginning. We like to think of our business as a way where we help our families, client families, make new beginnings in a foreign country, in a new place, which is their dream or their destination or their aspiration, and then thereafter help them expand their international footprints. We've started off our company in 2010. We've been in investment immigration in 2012. For the first 5-6 years, we predominantly worked in the US EB5 program, and since then have expanded our coverage through expansion of our own teams and with very strategic partnerships that we are very proud of and very respectful of, that have given us an expansion into many new markets. We consider the world has changed post-COVID, and we expect that the investment immigration programs around the world will go through changes and actually become more attractive, or will become more easier for a lot of people in a lot of countries, as investment immigration is looked at as a foreign direct investment coming into the countries. And we saw this post the financial crisis in 2008 and 9, when we really saw big growth in the number of programs and the popularity of these programs. We expect similar expansions post-COVID. We expect new and emerging opportunities. We are being on the inside track of being so close to these programs with our team members like Paulina and Hakan and Tatiana that know these programs so well, and our own team members. We are very close to how these things are evolving and very well positioned to take these, to help people take next steps through this. We are based here in New Delhi, but our offices are in India, in Chandigarh and Mumbai, and we have offices in Hong Kong and the United States, and with beyond in the UK and other parts of Europe, and our office in Canada for the Canadian program. Like we said in the beginning, investigation, the world is your oyster. These are programs that can help you reach places that by sitting in your living rooms, you don't actually have to do much except it arrives in your door like a delivery service. And so with it, thank you so much for attending our webinar today. Thank you to the participants for their excellent presentations. We are open for questions. I am going to now start the question and answer sessions. We have been receiving these questions, and I'm going to read out the questions, and I'm going to ask someone on the panel to answer it. Okay, the first question we have, which we can take up right at the end, which is about a generic question. We have a question from a gentleman from Delhi that he wants to go for a direct citizenship without having to stay there with a minimum investment. So my understanding of this question is that he's looking for a citizenship by investment program where the investment limit is at minimum or on the lower side. Tatiana or Paulina, this is a question I would say that the answer could probably lie in Turkey or Montenegro, one of the Caribbean countries. So if one of you could answer this, if you would like to answer this about some of the programs that are available in these countries.
Okay, I will take the question. Basically, it depends what is the objective. There's quite a few programs which do not require you to visit the country at all out of the citizenship by investment. Basically, you make the investment and you receive the citizenship. The passport is delivered to you. And those are St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Lucia, Dominica, and Vanuatu. All of those countries, you don't even have to go at all during the citizenship acquisition process, and the passport will be sent to you in the comfort of your home. The starting point is $100,000 US donation, and these passports allow visa-free travel and excellent visa-free travel to around 150 countries worldwide. Most importantly, to all the Schengen countries, Switzerland, EU, Norway, Sweden, United Kingdom. So every trip to the United Kingdom can be up to 6 months, no more than 6 months in a year. And every trip to a European country can be up to 90 days, but no more than 90 days in a 6-month period. There are also programs which are citizenship by investment, but they do not require you to visit. They only require a very small amount of your time. So Malta, 2 visits and only 15 days to be spent. The minimum price tag is around 1 million euros. There's Cyprus, minimum investment is 2 million in real estate for 5 years. You only have to go once to actually receive the passport, receive and submit the biometrics. And last but not least, our favorite program, Turkey. Again, you don't have to go. And citizenship can be acquired completely through, completely remotely. Montenegro does require to visit once for submission of biometrics. Again, once the application is already approved, and you only need to collect the passport in person. Similar, Antigua would require 5 days after the citizenship is granted. You need to spend there 5 days in the next 5 years after the application is approved. So but then we have to focus not only on the fact that whether you travel there or not, we have to focus on what we're trying to achieve. Whether it's visa-free travel, whether it's being able to live in one of those countries, whether it's the protection that the passport gives you, the security, the plan B, sort of insurance policy, whether this is a place where you would like to move and live one day, or whether this is a place where your children would like to reside or study. So I think we have to still focus on the objective as well. I absolutely agree with the classification you give in your presentation. First, we have to focus on why, and then we look at where, how much, who is to be included, and the budget and the destination.
Thank you, Paulina. I'm just going to add to that for the audience. We will be holding a webinar specifically on citizenship programs around the world, probably in 2 to 3 weeks from now. Please keep watching our calendar on our website for that. We have another question again, which is directed. We have 3 questions that are directed directly for the UK. Well, 5 questions. So, Paulina, I'm just going to ask them one by one. What is the cheapest way to move to the UK for a family?
Well, I can see someone wasn't listening to my presentation. The cheapest way to move to the UK is the representative of overseas business visa, because officially the investment required is 0. I don't think it can be less than that. So the only thing that you will have to pay is our lovely fees, which I'm sure we can always agree on something that will make you happy and us happy.
Okay, thank you. Next question. How can students stay in the UK to work after they graduate from the UK university? Again, I think this is something that has been addressed in the presentation, but Paulina, why don't you just repeat this once again?
There are a few options. If it's a very bright student, then they don't need our help, because they will find an employer, a sponsor, who will sponsor them. But in case they're a little unlucky, or they do want to become slave to the sponsor, which gives them the visa under the Tier 2 program, and they want to have the flexibility, then the good option is, of course, the Tier 1 investor visa, if it can be achieved. But we have actually good news for them. Only recently, only yesterday, actually, 2 days ago, in Parliament, they announced that the graduate scheme is coming back, And from the summer of 2021, it would be possible for those who graduate from UK universities to continue staying in the UK for 2 years and be able to look for jobs and to be able to work during this time. And hopefully during this 2-year period, they show themselves well and they can switch or they can find a sponsor. But obviously the easiest solution is always tier 1 investor, because that allows to work and study and do anything, do nothing, start your own business in the UK. As of now, the second best solution is the innovator, or going back to India, working for the parent company for 6 months, and then the parent company will send them back to the UK to be their representative. That is also very cost efficient.
Okay. Next question. If I only want a passport to travel worldwide visa free, but don't want to live in the UK, are there any other solutions?
Well, like we mentioned, if it's only visa-free travel, then the price tag starts from $100,000 donation, and that would be the Caribbean ones or Vanuatu. So we have over 6 countries. Their passport is close enough to, for example, getting a British passport, to the visa-free travel benefits that the British passport gives. The only exception that they don't give Canada or United States. However, the most cost-efficient solution would be the Caribbean programs, or if they want to get the best of the best, then Malta or Cyprus.
Okay. Next question we have is a combined questions. How many cases have you done, and can you give us some examples of families that have done this, their profiles, etc., especially if there have been any examples out of India or Indian families?
Well, all of these programs was done for Indian families. I think that India hasn't fully woken up to the UK yet, because they still feel that it can be very difficult. I'm sure everyone you speak to in India, they would say that they've had, or they know someone who had refusals from the UK. I have to tell you that more than 15 years of practice, and we actually have 100% success rate, because unless we feel that the client has good chances of approval, we just don't take on this case. This is the secret to our 100% success rate. But in general, I think from India we could do more. But in China, safe to say, we have maybe at least 20% of the China immigration market to the UK. In Russia, like put 30%. From India, I wish we did more. And I think that is hopefully our cooperation with you will lead us to getting there.
Well, we've got 4 or 5 people in the pipe. Well, so Polina, sorry. So why don't you give us some examples of the families that have done this? You know, the type of businesses they were in, or the manufacturing, service sector. You know, because especially the representative of the overseas business is a sector or a category which essentially is requires you to prove a business case in the UK. So, you know, give us some kind of examples of companies and what they did overseas, and, you know, what they showed as a business plan in the UK. For example, if they were a garment manufacturer targeting, you know, Marks and Spencer's as a buyer, and they wanted a marketing office there, you know, things like that. Yeah? So
well, of course, the bigger the company, the better. The longer their history, the better their reputation, the higher their turnover, the more employees they have, the better. However, I have to say that we've had success even with moderate-sized companies. We currently have a client. She is Pakistani. He is Indian. They came to the UK, and the mother company, the parent company that sent them, is an IT company, which obviously there's so many of them in India. So they're here developing a new interesting app for the healthcare center, which the NHS they hope would be using. So it's actually a very ambitious project. We have client who is a partner in a law firm, but since there are many other partners, he came here to represent and look for clients, potential ones who can be interested, because obviously there's a big Indian community here. So he would be passing the business to his Indian mother company, parent company, and we have those who are in real estate development. and it's a very big construction company. Again, it's easy to justify. They come here looking for investors who can invest in booming India real estate market, and I'm sure they do find them. So it can be bigger, it can be big side business, but it can be smaller ones as well. I mentioned the one that we have with you. I think they are plastics producers.
Yeah.
Then we have so the construction one I mentioned, the software. There's another one, another software company. There is currently a case that we have. They are in telecommunications business, and they're looking again for investors and offering solutions for telecommunication business, and they're thinking of expanding in the UK. So I would say if you want to corner me and ask me for exact criteria for what sort of mother company, parent company can send a representative to the UK, just my answer is it has to be believable, it has to be credible, it has to be a genuine need. It cannot look like we are creating this to facilitate the move of the family to the UK, even if that is the case. Therefore, they would be looking at whether you have a genuine need for, because so for example, like sometimes they come to us and they have like a few beauty salons or like a few car washes. I mean, like for example, car wash business obviously doesn't need a representative in the UK, but if it's like 20 different beauty parlors, beauty salons, then maybe they do, because that way they will discover new technology, maybe new equipment, new ways of beautifying, and obviously that would make sense.
Well, I think to add to that, because we have some ongoing engagements right now with on the UK ROB, essentially, this again is a customized, so we need to first understand the business background. It doesn't need to be a very large company. That can also get complicated, and it can be, but it can be a very small company which can't make a business case. So anything which is basically a small to medium sector enterprise in India can essentially qualify for it. And so
well,
again,
we are always happy to explore and discuss on a case by case. We never charge for consultations, so it never hurts to ask and just bring it to our attention, and we can always assess the chances and give you like a fair estimate whether it stands a good chance or not. Because if it doesn't, we usually just won't take the case.
Yeah. So, okay. Thank you, Paulina. We just have time for a quick couple of more questions. There is one gentleman who has asked a question about. Okay, there's a gentleman who's asked about the L1, EB1, and the E2 visa category, or also could be interested in Canada. To the gentleman, I'd like to answer that the E2, I'm assuming you're an Indian citizen, is not available for India, so it will be a route that you will have to take once you were to acquire a citizenship. A very easy destination for that is Turkey, another program that we offer, which a Turkish citizen is qualified for the E2. And Canada, they want to start. I will get back to you since you provided our contact specifically about these two programs and your qualification for this. There is a gentleman who's asked what is the minimum investment needed to immigrate to New Zealand, Australia, or Canada. We are not currently working in New Zealand and Australia, but Canada starts at about 100 to 150,000 Canadian dollars and above. Again, we have your contact details. We will get in touch with you about Canada. There is another question from a person who says that he's been working in Poland for the last 3 years on work permit and a temporary residence card, which is expiring in August 2020. With 20 years of IT software development experience, has worked in Ireland in the past and traveled to UK on a business visa. What option is best for a person such as this to migrate to the UK? So my sense is you are in a job setup scenario or in a corporate employment scenario. Again, we are, an employment-based migration will be available of some form for you in the UK. Otherwise, the Tier 1 investor visa is available for you. And again, to that gentleman, we will get back. You provide us our contact details. We will get back to you. There are some other specific questions from the audience about their profiles individually, so I would like to reserve not discussing this too much in public forum, and I have your contact details, and I will return. Our team will be connecting back with you to address or answer some of these questions. With this, I would like to thank our panelists, Paulina, Tatiana, Mark. If you can all come on the screens for a second, and we can all have a just a sec. I think I'm just trying to get off my screen. Okay, so again, oh, there's everybody. Thank you so much for your time today. Paulina, Tatiana, thank you so much for your time this morning in London. Mark, as usual, right here in Delhi, once again, thank you so much. I do hope our webinar series was useful, continues to be useful to our guests. We do see a few people that have been attending the webinars. So I hope these are continuing to be educational and informational. We are available and our contact details on our website for personal and individual consultation. While the webinar is a general sort of forum to give out mass information or top high-level information, investment immigration is a very specific, customized discussion. We've had many, and all four of us on the TV screen have been at many events around the world over years, and I don't think so. And we can all assure you that these are one-to-one conversations because each person and each profile is unique. So we really encourage people to come to us to discuss whether you are completely ready for a particular country or program, or are fixated or fixed on a solution that you have in mind, or are very open about where you want to go as an unsure and want to just try to understand the nitty-gritties of individual ones. All our initial consultation is free, but our time is limited. So we have questionnaires we send out so that we can capture basic information so that we can have more educated and informed conversations with you. So please get in touch with us. Stay tuned for the next webinar, which is focused on Ireland, which is a very exciting country for all of us and for around the world, which people seem to not have noticed yet in India. So thank you so much, Paulina and Tatiana, once again for your time and the excellent presentation. And
thank you.
Thank you so much, and have a great day ahead. Thank you, Mark, and thank you for all our guests and team members that are part of the call for being here today. Have a great day ahead, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye.